Welcome to the FinCrime Connection, brought to you by Jade Third Eye. I'm Phil.
Hi, and I'm Claire.
Right, let's get into it. So there have been some big FinCrime news stories in the past few weeks. Similar to last month, there's so much that we struggle to fit everything in just to one session. So let's get into it.
Thanks, Phil. Yeah. So this week we're going to delve into three key documents which shape the UK's AML and CTF regime. They are the National Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing Risk Assessment, the FCA and the NCA's Joint Economic Crime Priorities, and HMT's Consultation response to the effectiveness of the money laundering regulations.
Cool. And I guess most people will know, but just to set the scene a little bit, can you just break down the NRA for us?
Sure. The National Risk Assessment is the most comprehensive view of money laundering and terrorist financing risk, published by the Home Office and Treasury, and it draws on insights and intelligence from across industry, SAR data and regulatory data to assess current vulnerabilities, the scale and the effectiveness of mitigations. It goes hand in hand with the Economic Crime Plan, and it's used across public and private sectors to inform risk assessments and policy decisions.
And so what are they calling out as the increasing money laundering risks that we're all facing in this industry?
Yeah. Okay. So the areas flagged as increasing risk are fintech firms, crypto asset service providers, and casinos. So to break that down a bit further, fintechs are being called out specifically relating to the increase of electronic money institutions and payment service providers for laundering money by organised crime groups. Crypto has increased significantly since the last national risk assessment, which was back in 2020, and is noted as being used in laundering the proceeds of cybercrime, crypto asset theft, and ransomware, amongst other things. And the increase in risk for casinos is considered to be heightened by remote casinos and money service businesses, which are also offered by some casinos and which are known to attract high risk customers.
And so if they're the sort of increasing areas of focus, what are the themes that they called out? Any threats that persist that are still mentioned? Could you just break that down a bit for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So high risks in retail and wholesale banking persist, as do perceived high risks in wealth management, accountancy, and trust and company service providers. The National Risk Assessment this time it also references increasing overlaps between sanctions evasion, kleptocracy, and Russian-linked financial crime.
Awesome. And alongside the NRA, you sort of mentioned the government's economic crime priorities. Can you tell us a bit more about what's going on there?
I can, sure. So this is the launch of a new system prioritisation framework. It was introduced through the Economic Crime Plan, and it unveils 9 equal weighted system priorities, which are aligned with the strategic assessments. These are all documented in the document, which we will share the links to, but those system priorities include things like professional enablers and money mules, international offenders targeting UK victims, as well as non-UK organised crime groups using UK corporate structures, and also fraud and terrorist financing. As you'd expect, there's a lot of crossover. The National Risk Assessment gives the high-level context, and the system priorities break that down into action-orientated expectations for law enforcement and regulated firms.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And the last big hitter in terms of recent publications is the response to the consultation on the money laundering regs. How does that tie in with the NRA system priorities that you've just talked us through?
Yeah, so this really reflects the continued emphasis on the risk-based approach by encouraging firms to focus their efforts on the highest priorities and the highest threats. For example, in respect of customer due diligence and enhanced due diligence, EDD will only now apply to unusually complex transactions, which narrows the scope down from complex. An EDD for high-risk third countries is going to be restricted to those countries classified as call to action rather than all the FATF high-risk jurisdictions, which is again allowing firms to take a more proportionate risk-based approach.
And so what are the next steps?
There will be a new statutory instrument to be published, which will progress through parliamentary review and approval. And alongside that, we should expect regulators and industry bodies to be developing and publishing new guidance to support firms in how they implement these changes. For me, this represents a continuing positive step to see that shift from the blanket rules to risk-focused application. And it's a real opportunity for firms to move away from seeing financial crime as a compliance tick box and instead focus on getting the best outcomes in that ongoing fight against financial crime.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Claire. So let's wrap up for this month. You can find links to everything we've talked about today in the blog that accompanies this episode. And as always, if you have any questions, thoughts, or feedback, we'd love to hear from you.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Please like and share this. Phil and I will be back soon with the next episode of the Financial Crime Connection.